All right, everyone. Well, we're going to go ahead and kick it off. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the 4th Network Onboarding Workshop. And this workshop is for any registered network leaders who are users on the Network Connect app. And really the goal of these workshops are to equip you with this new app with kind of the understanding of using it in a familiar way, knowing all of the features and the capabilities, as well as introducing new features and products. We've made lots of additions to the network onboarding, the Network Connect app, and so we're excited to share that with you. This is an app that had a long history of being created, and then really all around helping you engage with those you serve in a whole new way, in large part on a digital sphere. And COVID happened kind of right when we started to launch this app. And so we changed a bunch of things. We realized that, gosh, things are different. People connect differently. People learn differently. People are engaging with their ministries and their churches differently. So we wanted to adapt. And so this is an opportunity to share some of those exciting new capabilities with you. Today, specifically, we're going to be talking about Insights Plus. And Insights Plus is a data analytics tool designed specifically with faith leaders like yourself in mind, in order to know the people and the community that you serve in order to serve them more effectively. So super excited, and thanks so much for joining. Let's kick us off. I want to share our guest speakers today. My name is Linda Glaze. I'm on the network team here at Glue, and it is my job to make sure that you know how to use the product and feel capable to use it and really find value in it. We're also joined by Hannah Garner. She is the product owner of Insights Plus and is a wealth of information on the impetus for creating this capability, as well as kind of what you can expect and a little bit of the behind the scenes, which is really cool. And then Brian Salt-Talcum is a senior researcher. He leads our in-market research team here at Glue. And he talks to folks just like you every single day and understands what your pain points are as a leader, as a pastor, what you need from kind of digital product capabilities and the like. And so he's really going to share kind of what we're seeing in the field. So super excited to hear from both of you all today. So let's hop right into the agenda. Here's what you can expect. I'm going to give a brief overview of what Insights Plus really is, and that'll give you some good context entering into that conversation with Brian and Hannah, just to give you kind of a little bit of background. And then we're going to chat with Brian and Hannah on their expertise, areas of expertise, and the contributions that they can help you understand a little bit more about the product, what folks in the field who are already using this are saying, and that type of thing. And then we're going to actually do a demo. So I'll hop right into the product and show you how it works, which is really exciting. And then we'll finish up with some questions. All right, so what is Insights Plus? Insights Plus is a powerful kind of insights tool, a digital capability designed to help you know your people and your community a lot better in order to serve them. And what that looks like is essentially a database of about 3,500 data points, telling you who folks are, what they need, what their pain points are, where they're coming from, their background, and on and on and on. And that really allows you to understand, gosh, who's in my community? Maybe I'm a new ministry in the community, and I need to know what the needs of the people around this community are. Maybe you're a pastor of a church and say, well, gosh, I talked to 10 to 20 people after service on Sunday, so I think I know what my people want, but there's 500 people in my congregation. How can I possibly know kind of collectively what we look like? And so that is essentially what Insights Plus is. And it also, a really cool new feature, which Hannah's going to touch on, is this online component. So we all know things are going digitally more and more, already are going digitally, but then with the addition of COVID-19, churches almost nearly across the country went entirely online. So how do we understand the visitors who are coming and engaging with us through our website? So we've added a component that really allows you know from an analytics perspective that visitor kind of population as well. In all areas, so the big kind of topics around these data points are spirituality, finances, family dynamics, which includes kind of marriage and children and things like that, what motivates them. And so we'll look at some of those features today. And really what we found, we've been working with churches for quite a long time, and we found that the heartbeat of what they do, and that's church leaders, ministry leaders, network leaders, is really serving others exactly where they are. And so oftentimes they'll, you might host events, or you might create curriculum with an understanding of what you think those folks might need, but this really gives you concrete data in order to be more effective. So you can basically, this is kind of essentially what it looks like. Again, we'll dive in deeper with an actual demo, but you can see clearly with advanced filtering and segmentation. So not only do you get a snapshot or a report of kind of the holistic view of your community, but you could say, well, what about folks who are millennials? What do they look like? Or what about young families? What are their needs? So you can really break down what we call audiences to know those segments better. And then again, that piece from moving from web analytics to members and visitors. Again, so historically, web analytics allows you to understand who's coming through the door, really from a count perspective. But this allows you to see, gosh, these are my members, but these are my visitors who are engaging with me. And again, this is so pertinent for this time because we're finding that so much traffic within a website, whether it be a church website or a community ministry, perhaps, is that members are still coming, but there's a whole host of visitors. It's much more accessible. So what if we could learn about them as well? And then the key piece after that is, how do I reach out to them? Okay, I know about them. I know what their needs are. How can I reach out to them? So we have some what we call activation pieces to engage with them in a digital way. So you can send marketing, social media marketing campaigns to these individuals that you've identified within your community. So again, that's Insights Plus in a nutshell, a really cool database that gives you lots of knowledge about those you serve to be more effective. All right, so, and again, that was a really quick kind of high level view. We will dive in more deeply on the demo, but I just wanted to set that up, and I'd love to hear now from Hannah and from Brian on a little bit of kind of the impetus behind creating this and why we're so excited to share this with you and kind of what we're hearing in the market a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because I want Brian and Hannah to be able to show their faces and show their voices, and then we'll hop in a little bit with some questions here. So Hannah, I'm going to start with you. Can you just kind of set the stage, give us a little bit of the background on the goal with the research that kind of led to Insights Plus? There was a lot of research and a lot of things that you were kind of hoping to do with a digital platform like this. What were some of the kind of reasons for creating this Insights Plus capability?
Yeah, thanks, Linda, so much. And thanks for setting us up and for giving some context to really something that we've been running with for a little over 3 to 4 years now. So as you mentioned, we had this idea of creating a group of people so that you can glean understanding from them. So previously we had, the community base, so people within a geographic area, or getting those same insights on people that you know. Perhaps it's those who are located in your church management system and being able to understand those groups of people as well. And as we entered this season, we've always had this desire, really, it started with almost a desire for attendance, right? So can I understand the influence? Can I understand sort of who I'm ministering to? And as we got further and further into the research, it felt like attendance was a key problem or a key statement that our champions wanted to understand. but more than that, they had lost visibility just into who was showing up with this time. So, even at a physical location, you have some sort of visibility into who's walking through the doors. I can greet them in a different capacity, but there still is that barrier of really understanding who's showing up and who are they. And so we've done a few different tests in the past, even we did some geofence tests where we could say, hey, we're trying to help you just understand and know those who are showing up who may look similar to those who you're already ministering to, or maybe give insight into some opportunities to learn and grow. And so with this heightened season where really we did lose visibility, and we also saw a lot of opportunities to engage and to serve people in different ways. We thought there was an opportunity to be able to capture an online audience. And so really, can I see trends? So we kept hearing, wow, everything's out the window. Like, can we do A/B testing? Because, what we thought we knew, maybe isn't working. Or, what we knew to be true in the past is now it's working to a degree we didn't think was possible. And so with that, we really wanted to be able to create this type of audience that we call from an online, those who are visiting your website, being able to understand their patterns across that, and then really getting to the heart of those analytics of being able to bring visibility into who's showing up. So, who those that maybe are have a marriage in need, or have families with children who may need some different things during the season, to be able to lead confidently in those areas.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. And then that's super helpful context. Now, Ryan, can you take a moment and just let us know kind of what we were hearing in the church community that lent to this building of this exciting product, and kind of what we were hearing that said, gosh, we need to build something that achieves these goals?
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine it's a lot of what you've all been hearing as network leaders as you talk to churches. Obviously, COVID made everyone confront the online approach that they had immediately. And so there's been this comment that I've heard for a couple of years where churches started talking about their online presence being their screen door. And they would, use this phrase of people are going to check out your website, your screen door, before they ever come through the front door of your church. Well, in the last couple of months, they've changed. And we're hearing pastors say, well, my online is now my front door. It's my only door. And so everyone has had to advance. And so you're hearing small churches that advance by buying their first video camera to stand up live streaming. You heard people creating new jobs and responsibilities shifting in staff to focus on their online presence and their marketing and their website. And then even some more advanced churches who are trying to push past that idea that online engagement only means watching a Sunday service. And so they're thinking a lot about their engagement strategy and how do we actually connect with people. And so, ultimately churches have been confronted with this question of, if online is a strategy for us, is it a strategy long-term? And what does that mean? And we're hearing people say, this is long-term, this is change, it's not temporary. And so pastors have had to enter this new world almost overnight, hearing terms like audiences and pixels and things that were things that they had never had to think about. And pretty immediately, the challenge that they've started to articulate is how hard it is to see and touch people online, especially their visitors. And so we hear from pastors that the online metrics from Google Analytics or Facebook or YouTube, frankly, don't mean a whole lot. They get these number of views that can feel like an inflated number one week and then surprisingly small the next week. And they know that behind those numbers, there's big questions of how long did people view, and what were they doing while they were viewing? It's really different to a pastor if you were actually engaging with my website or with my online streaming versus just clicking something and having it open. And who are these people and how could I connect with them? Had pastors reflecting a lot on what does it mean to do first-time visitor outreach? What does it mean to do a next steps ministry or a rooted ministry if I can't actually see these people? And so as we started to show this tool, we got a lot of excitement about the hope that it could answer some of those questions. A pastor I talked to said, when I normally see guests, I get a first impression. You can tell a lot by what they wear and what they look like and the questions that they ask when I meet them, and I am able to shake their hand. And it's different, but I hope that this tool would give me the online version of how to do that with people and how I could see them again. Another comment I heard a few times was, I know that the easiest audience is the one that I already have, the one that's already showing some interest in me through my website. And so I really hope that I could actually get an opportunity to connect with that sort of warm audience rather than sort of the unknown people. And the internet is ultimately where people are at, is what I'm hearing pastors say a lot. So a lot of hope around this tool. We've been able to work with Hannah and team also to refine some of the objections that came up and some of the questions and concerns. And so it's been, a lengthy process to get to this point today.
Thanks, Brian, and thanks so much for your work in the market, because I know that's super, super valuable. We really want to make sure that what we're hearing is replicated in the product. So thanks for that. Now, we've been talking about data and insights and analytics. And Hannah, can you help contextualize this a little bit for us? Like, what is the value? Speak a little bit about our data partnerships, the value of those partnerships, and then what we can glean from them regarding kind of profiles and personas.
Yeah, sure. So to speak more data, we do here at Glue have several data partnerships and data that we've licensed. And so we have partners such as Wonderman Data, LiveRamp as another one of our partners, Wyland. And really what we do is we look for data that we believe is going to be relevant to the champions we serve. So it's nothing new in terms of the industry with what we do, but we do believe that the differentiating that we bring is the type of analytics. And so not only that, but we do have a data team that then goes ahead and models some of these things that we believe is, again, going to be useful analytics. So it's not the width. So we do have about 3,000 different analytics and that we at one time or another are sort of investigating and understanding different segments of individuals and aggregate level groups of people. But it's really bringing the right metrics so that we're not overloading. So within the UI, we do surface about 250 of those. So those different types of audience that we explained, whether that's something a geo-based, so around your community, or that you, the people that you know or visitors that are coming from your site, you can be able to understand those. So we have a variety of reports that we're helping to surface those personas. So if I can begin to understand, oh, okay, not only, are people who are showing up online, they're visitors and they tend to be, maybe the average person tends to be in their 40s, they tend to have 3 kids. We can begin to sort of take those things and give you a snapshot of what really is behind that person. And so that's where I try to balance this of, we have so much power under the hood, and how do we bring that in a tangible way? And I still think we're learning, right? We're learning, how do we not overwhelm, but how do we bring relevant data? Because I know we've all been in spaces where it's like, you're so inundated with all these avenues you can go down. And so we try to give that all at the same time to those who want to understand it further, and also tailor to people who maybe don't have that expertise, where they can get in there and they can glean information sort of quickly to help them make those data-driven decisions.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. And while we're on the topic, we're talking about data points and ingesting data and synthesizing data. What measures is Glue taking? Because naturally questions of security and trust are going to come up. You and I have been working with Insights for so long, and we know that that's an absolutely understandable concern of folks using the platform. What measures is Glue taking to ensure that the privacy and security of our churches and ministries and networks is safeguarded within the platform?
Yeah, we take a lot of different ways in which we look at different data sets. So there's what we consider a third-party data. So those are some of those partnerships. So we're seeding the platform with really data that we're bringing on behalf of our organizations. And then there's also data that really belongs to the champions and to the churches. And so we do a good job of making sure that that's their data. We don't do anything with it unless they sort of opt in to the ability to, we oftentimes do lookalike audiences for them. So we do some custom things at their request. And then there's another aspect, if you sort of peel back the hood between the architecture of these data environments. What we do is we separate, so there's a PII component, and so that would be something that says, hey, this is Hannah Garner, and I can identify the individual. And then there's the other aspect that's the attributes associated maybe with that individual. And within the data environment, it's called an anonymous data environment. And so we make sure that we break those two things apart. So we're really reporting at the aggregate level, and at no time we don't have those two environments connected. And so we really are reporting things at that level, and we're making sure that even within internal Glue employees, nobody has those two permissions at the same time.
Great, good distinction. So anonymized, unidentified from the person level data.
That's correct.
Great. Thanks, Hannah. Now, Brian, can you talk a little bit about, again, you're speaking with pastors and leaders all the time, about the value that this could bring to churches and networks and kind of what you're seeing that churches are eager to use this for?
Yeah, I'll highlight a few specific things. So one of those early slides that Linda showed, you saw a map view. And on that map view, it's really giving the heat of where's the location of people that are visiting my website. And so what I'm hearing from churches around that is that, especially in a time of small gathering, that gives them some really interesting data on how to decide to plant small groups or house churches or even potentially new church plants. So if I see that in the northwest corner of my city, there's a group of people that have been checking out my website online, that might lead me to say that would be a really nice place to plant some sort of presence and ministry and way to support those people, even if we aren't all able to come to one location. Hannah talked quite a bit about profile data, so this ability to understand attributes of my online attendees. And I'm hearing churches talk about how that might impact their messaging and programming. So maybe I had an assumption that all of the people who were watching me online were my members, and I knew that they looked like, this certain age group and interests. But if I saw that that assumption was wrong, and that perhaps I was dealing with a population that maybe had a lower income than I'm used to working with, and some more regular basic needs that they were dealing with, that would really impact how I chose to talk or what I might choose to do as far as support and ministry in this time. And then the final point is this idea of retargeting campaigns through social media. So all that means is that even if the person's name is de-identified from any data that a pastor could see or that anyone could see in this platform, they still are real people. And on the back end, we're able to segment those groups of people and help you to actually run advertising campaigns through social media towards those people. And so what pastors are really excited about there is that it's an actual person that I'm able to now reach back out to, and they've been interested in me, and I'm able to invite them into a next step, whether that's a new ministry or small group or whatever that might be. But it's a level of connection that's very different than sort of a broad target advertising that I don't know who I'm hitting. These are actually the specific people who are interested in me.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. And we hear that all the time, don't we? Of like, when a pastor gets a report or a network leader gets a report and they're like, gosh, I wish I had this when we started small groups and we knew how to kind of segment them out. Or when we started our fall sermon series, I would have really tailored some specific messaging or sermon topics around these felt needs of the people. So thanks for sharing that. That's great. All right, and then just finally, Hannah, will you lend us some idea and insight into what the future of this looks like? Where are we going? What new things are we hoping to add to the platform?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's fun to be in construction, but it's even more fun to be in market and then to begin to hear actual market feedback when they get to interact with the product. And so we do have some really awesome things coming up, such as being able to identify specific paths that visitors are on. So maybe what path they're going. So maybe they are on your giving page and then they go to your sermons page, and being able to understand that, being able to understand, what is the length of time that it takes to go from a first-time visitor maybe to a second-time visitor, or how often does somebody, retention, how often is somebody showing back up? We also have some integrations that we're really excited about. So being able to almost have a dashboard view and being able to see, analytics from Facebook and from YouTube. And really also then there's this comparative data aspect that we're pursuing. And so if I can understand my online audience trends and those people, then can I also see those of similar organizations? So all, again, in that anonymized way, but can I begin to compare and see other organizations that might have similar attributes, such as a size or denomination, to be able to get sort of a benchmark and to be able to understand collectively, like, where are we ministering? And so also we are also seeking feedback. So, it's, again, I said, I'm really excited to be in market. And so I always want to leave room and opportunity to make sure that we're solving the right problems.
Hey, Hannah, that cumulative data is a piece that I should have mentioned as a real interest on the network side. And I'm curious to hear how that lands with you all. So if you think about this power for churches, we know you want churches to be successful, and that we're trying to help give them guidance and practical tools to help them be successful. For networks, we know that part of your work is to show up with that clear support and value to churches, but that also there might be some real value for you to see trends across your network. And so some of that cumulative data that Hannah started to talk about really gives you some different powers. So maybe you hear one church that talks about a decline in members that are visiting their website, and you'd be able to see if that's a solo point or if that's actually a broader trend across the churches you serve. Or you see an uptick in visit to churches' camps or children ministry pages. And maybe you're able to stay ahead of the curve a bit in providing content to support churches in that way. So we've heard many networks focused on Christian leaders, and the idea that this might give you a broader view into their people, their community members, the people that are looking to find a home at your churches, so that you can continue to serve those churches in new ways.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Thank you for that. Well, thank you both. Right now, I'm going to hop into the demo and just do a kind of a quick 10-minute demo, because I think if you have any questions at this point, they might be answered when we actually look at the product. But Brian and Hannah are going to stick around. So if you have any questions at all, keep them at top of mind or include them in the chat feature, and we'll make sure that we answer those questions. All right, so let's head back in here to the Network Connect app, and I want to show you how to navigate to this Insights kind of feature. So up in the top right-hand corner of your app, yours will look a little bit different than the one I have here, but you have what's called the 9 box. And I just want to remind you about all the really cool capabilities that live within the 9 box, many of which are free. One of the big ones I just want to draw your attention to is reminding you about the importance of assessment. They're a free, easy way to check in with folks that you serve. You can either do it at the pastor level or the leader level, or even your leaders can then find out about how their members or congregants are doing. They're kind of broad and generalized, really research-backed in terms of how are people actually doing in all aspects of their life. Are they flourishing? Or we have some topic-specific ones. So we have a really popular one called the Returning to Church Check-In, which is a check-in to see how people are feeling about coming back physically to your church location. Others on faith and race, that type of thing. So I just wanted to kind of do a quick plug for assessments, because it's a quick, free, and easy way that you can really get value right now. And almost 3,000 organizations have already deployed an assessment. We have like 350,000 respondents or something like that. So that's information that's really helpful for you. So I'm going to actually click over here onto the Insights tab. And as we mentioned, there's kind of a multi-level insight capability within this platform, knowing your people, knowing your community, and then also knowing those online audiences. So I'm just going to start here with the community and kind of tell you the insights gleaned from within each of those categories. Now, this is a paid service that you can purchase, but there are features within almost all of our products that have a free version. And so you can actually get a free Know Your Community report right now. When you log into Insights, your location that's listed here will generate a report that gives you analytics on your neighborhood, essentially. So you can do that today. And folks who are on platform can do that today. Giving you a whole bunch of information around demographics, faith, family, finances, vocation, and health. And so you can get a kind of a full downloadable report from that. So just know that that report is available to you for free. But diving into My Community, this is where you can actually search geographically. And so I'm going to build a new audience here and just show you what that looks like. So again, let's say that we are a pastor who's moving into an area and really wants to understand who those people are within that community and how they can serve them. So you could plug in an address, a city, a zip code, what else? Address, city, zip, those three things. Even a state if you wanted to, but to get a little more granular is a little bit better. So I'm going to plug in, let's just look at Austin, Texas here. So again, I'm telling the platform that I want to know about my neighborhood. I want to know about Austin, Texas. So you'll see that it draws the parameters around that community. Now you could even get specific, more specific than this. So let's say you know you want to be focused in the northwest region of Austin, Texas. You could draw your own parameters around that particular area and see what that looks like. And then that would create an audience for you. And then on the right-hand side here is where you can dive into all of those specific attributes on that area. So we could simply create those boundaries and click save, and then we're getting all of those analytics on everyone. So I'm going to just save this and show you what that looks like. So we'll call it Northwest Austin. And then that will appear in your reports kind of feature. So now you'll see that the audience is quite big. There's 213,000 folks who live in that area that we created the custom boundary around. And then you can look at all of these categories. So spiritual formation, motivations, what are these people motivated by? And you can get information in that respect. We could add a national average here. So we could look at, okay, these are interesting stats, but if we can't compare it against anything, if we don't have a benchmark to anything, it's not quite as relevant. So then we can see, okay, how does that compare to the national average? And while that's loading, I'll just show you, you can compare any two audiences or multiple audiences at one time. So we're seeing pastors do this a lot if they have a multi-location church. Hey, what does campus A look like in relation to campus B? We're doing the exact same sermons, the exact same programs at both locations, but gosh, they are different. And here are all the ways that they're different. So that's a really cool capability that you can do there. So I just wanted to show you how you can just dive into each of those things there. And I'm gonna show you a little more. I already built an audience around this scenario that we hear a lot. And this one was a pastor who's moving into a new community and wants to know about a specific type of people that they want to serve there. So they're a church and they feel led to minister to, or a community organization, and they feel led to minister to a specific type of people. So I created an audience here. And I will show you what those parameters were that I set. I stayed in the Austin area and I added all of these filters. I said, okay, let's say I'm a pastor and I really want to reach young families who are maybe not high on the kind of faith spectrum. Maybe they're lower on the faith spectrum. So these two particular filters lend to those who aren't quite super practicing in their faith or don't keep faith at the forefront of their life, because we really want to reach those who are unchurched. So we have all these filters. They're millennials or Gen X. they're married and they have at least one child. So, okay, we want to know about this group of people so that when we create marketing materials, we know what types of imagery to use, what types of copy to use. When we create programs, we want to create things that are relevant to this type of people. We don't want to make something or create a program and no one shows up and then we don't know why. So I've created this, this kind of audience. And again, you can dive into each specific category, but let's just build a new report. And let's say I want to just get a snapshot of a bunch of different things for these folks. So let's say, what is their, we know that they are married, but what are their family dynamics? And what are the ages of the children who are in that home? Let's go back. Let's say we also want to know kind of where they are in their income levels. And are they struggling with any addiction or mental health issues? And let's do one more. Let's do, let's see. We did finance. I think that's good. Let's kind of stick here for a little bit. Oh, let's go to spirituality, because we also want to know what motivates them. Maybe faith isn't super high, but what are their motivational dimensions that are high? What's important to them in life? All right, so I'm going to save this report as Austin Young Families, and then we can view that. So we're going to go down here. We're going to click on our report for this audience, and I am going to add the national average so we can see how they compare. And click national average. So now we're getting a really good idea of how their family dynamics are, where there might be opportunities for ministry, that type of thing. And again, churches are using this, faith organizations or ministries are using this. And so now we're going to see, okay, what do their family dynamics look like? We know that they have children, but what are the ages of the children in their families, et cetera? So that just takes a minute to load because we do have hundreds of millions of data points. Oh, let me try that again. Awesome. We'll click on our custom report. And then we're going to compare that to the national average. All right, there we go. We've got lots of people excited to use this and playing around in here right now. So, okay, so now this is good. We can see what else. Now we know that they're married. We know they have children. We know that they're either millennial or Gen X age range, and we know that they're kind of lower on that spiritual kind of continuum. But what else? Okay, we know we want to reach them. So what types of programs should I offer? So here's some things that pop out right away for me. We have this likely to have a marriage and needs score that is about 4 percentage points higher than the national average. So blue is the group that we're looking at, and orange is the national average. So gosh, I would say if I was a pastor, what a great opportunity for outreach from a kind of family dynamics perspective. Maybe I want to host a marriage event that really invites these folks in and encourages them in their marriages. Now, if I'm also going to invite them to a marriage event, I need to remember that they have lots of children in their household and younger children as well. So maybe I need to offer childcare. If I offer childcare, then it would allow more people to participate. Income, they're higher on that income kind of threshold significantly from the national average. So that Financial Peace University class I thought about hosting might not hold as true in this particular group of people. So, you know, maybe I put my efforts elsewhere. Propensity for addiction, very, very high for this group of people relative to the national average. So what can I do? Can I offer some support classes? Can we do small groups around addiction or around mental health, that type of thing? And so all of these things give you insights on how to serve these folks better. So I just wanted to show you like with a real kind of example of what that could look like. So that is really understanding a community that you serve. And then if we were to go back to people, you can do the same thing with the folks that you do know. So you probably have a member file or a database, and lots of churches and organizations have their kind of active member database. So you could upload that audience. Again, it's all secure and it all translates into an anonymous way into the platform. And then you can get all those insights on those people as well. So now you know what your community looks like, but you also know what folks within your doors look like. And so that pastor, the example that I used earlier, could see what the community looks like. And then a year later could look at their people. Where are folks the same? Where are they different? How do I need to minister to people in the community differently than my own folks? And then hopping over to Online Insights, again, is the newest feature within Insights Plus, is the ability to look at your known members, and that's done through a member file that is uploaded to the platform, as well as compared against those visitors, so those folks that you don't know. And that is done through a pixel. So Glue has a Glue pixel, and basically you put that on your website, and it gleans all of this information about who is coming to your website, and then it compares that against your known member file. And if they don't match, then they're deemed a visitor. If they do match, they're deemed a member. So that's some really cool analytics around there as well, because we know that lots of people are coming in digitally. How often are they coming in? So we can look at kind of week over week average of where are we rising, where are we falling, how are people essentially interacting with us, and then what do they need? Where are they coming from? So we could look at this from a map perspective, and we could see, gosh, this particular data file, which is a dummy data set, is showing folks from all over. But likely we're seeing a lot of churches and organizations that cluster in one geographic area, but might really pull from another. So an example could be, let's say you're a church in Atlanta and you're hosting an early morning Zoom session, kind of Bible study, but you realize a lot of your visitors are coming from California, and it's 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. there when you're hosting something at 8. So it really allows you to understand kind of their unique needs and who those folks are, so that you can be really strategic about your ministry. Now,
Linda,
this is all kind
Linda,
of...
it is a mock data set that we're visualizing, but it is pretty reminiscent of what we're finding as well. That, here you can see in this representation, the headquarters for this organization would be located in the Colorado area. But we do find that obviously the influence is much different than those that are attending just the geographic area. So.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah. That's an important distinction. And I think lots of folks are surprised to see that they are getting folks from all over the country. Cool. So then we want to look at profiling these individuals. And I want to give you an example of what that looks like. So just like we viewed the community data, and you can view your people data from a kind of an analytics perspective. What do they look like? What is their age range, their family composition, their spiritual posture, their motivations and financial statuses look like? So you can get all of that information with your members and visitors within this platform as well. All right, now I want to make a note here. What we're seeing with folks using this is that really now is the time to get on board. You'll see that these trends, it's really helpful to have, let me go back here. It's really helpful to have multiple weeks of data to look at before you make a strategy kind of around your ministry. And so getting on board now in advance of fall curriculum creation and small group enactment and things like that is going to be super helpful to have you, allow you to have a really good understanding of the people you serve or your churches serve or your ministries serve prior to that fall session. So I just want to finish with the website here. So Insights Plus has a website. It's called glueinsights.com. And I'd encourage you to check this out, and encourage all the churches and member organizations that you serve to check this out. And they can take a look at some of the pricing structures here. We have an annual price as well as a monthly price, but you'll see they're fairly reasonable. And the ability to gain back kind of those dollars in helpful strategy and efficacy and reaching people in a new way is really, really valuable. And that's one thing I didn't mention, I did earlier, but you'll remember that within this, within your community organization, if you identify folks with certain needs in your area, like the example of the pastor wanting to reach young families who are low on that spiritual spectrum, you can then export that audience to Facebook. There is a small fee associated with that, but you can export that audience to Facebook and run a marketing campaign. So then you're saying, please come to our church, and you've identified the exact folks that need to hear that right message at the right time. So again, feel free to have your folks check out this page. And now, I'm going to open it up here. Let me just kind of quickly talk through next steps, and then I want to make sure we get any questions answered. So the next step, be sure to invite your churches and ministries to register on platform if they haven't already. Then they can start to explore those capabilities, one of which is Insights Plus. So you can encourage them to check that out. I will follow up with an email to everyone on this call with a recording of this demo and an entire workshop session, as well as an email template that you can then provide to your churches and organizations, inviting them to check out Glue Insights. And then don't forget to explore those other capabilities within the 9-box. There's so many cool tools that you can use today. So, all right, any questions? Hopefully that was helpful. I know it was a ton of information. I'll you know, I put this here, but just want to call attention to the fact that if your members or churches do want to get on board, there's an additional 20% off. There's a 20% off annual price within the platform already for Insights Plus, but there's an additional 20% off for churches in the month of July with the code GLUE20. Now, if you are a organization, or because most of our pricing you'll see is really structured around average weekly attendance, and that's obviously lending to churches specifically. But if you're a network that serves churches and you're thinking about purchasing this in bundle for the churches or for your organization, give us a call. Or if you're a network that you think, gosh, I could use this for my ministry in and of itself, or you're an organization and you think you could use this for your community, give us a call. There might be some specific pricing kind of arrangements that we can make with you. So if you are looking at this for yourself, feel free to either email growth@glue.us or give us a call at this number here, 720-664-6390. All right. Jeremy, are you able to field any questions?
Yeah, Linda, I was just about to tell you, it looks like Raphael has his hand up. Thank you for doing that, following directions so well. So Raphael, if you want to unmute and ask your question, feel free.
Let's see if he's still here.
Linda, I will ask one on behalf of, it was lost in the chat from Jared. Okay. And it was, where can we find the definitions of the categories listed for the example, for example, the types of spirituality?
Oh, I can take that one, Linda. Sorry, I was just responding back to that. So we do have those, we're working on getting those in platform, but we do also have an external PDF. So if you are interested in understanding what analytics are available, then we can disperse that through a PDF download called a data dictionary.
Thanks, Hannah. Why don't I include that along with pricing details in the email as well?
And Raphael, if you still have a question, I see your hand is up. If you want to unmute and ask, feel free to go ahead and do that.
Yes, actually the question was already answered. I just need to call you guys because I'm a leader of a network and I just need to know pricing. So I'll be calling you guys. Okay.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Raphael. And I put that phone number back up on the screen, so you should see that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining, everyone. Any other questions? All right. Well, I will, like I said, follow up with an email that includes the recording, an email template for you to share with churches and member organizations, that PDF download, as well as pricing. And so feel free to respond if you have specific questions, and I'll make sure if I can't answer them, I will get you to the right person. Thanks, Hannah. Thank you, Brian. So appreciative of your contributions. Really created a robust conversation. So very thankful for you, and thankful for all of you joining. Really appreciate the time. We're very excited about this, if you can't tell, and so hope that you are too. Feel free to call us with any questions you might have. Thanks so much, everyone.